Just over a year ago, on November 9th, 2024, Chris Chan quit Twitter in the wake of Donald Trump's victory in the 2024 election, blaming Elon Musk and thus the platform for his election win. It's been just over a year since that day, where Chris has sworn to not post on Twitter anymore. And we're going to be reading through all of Chris's tweets on Twitter from the last year. Welcome to the Chris Chan Update, my name is GiBi. Chris's original goodbye tweet went like this. First insightful thought on Blue Sky. I will be making my tweets and posts on there from now on. Twitter will remain as a platform where I'll find images and content that I like. But yeah, I blocked Elon Musk. Take from that what you may. So him tweeting things like links to his Blue Sky and his Etsy store and retweeting Sonic giveaways is not outside the bounds of what he said he'd use Twitter for. It just seems like he's not going to use it for his daily updates and insights into his life. This lasted about 3 weeks until Chris felt like he had to make an emergency announcement. Around this time, due to something that he mistakenly said on stream, many people believed that Chris had gotten Flutter pregnant. He decided to address this both on Twitter and Blue Sky, wanting it to reach as many people as possible. November 22nd, 2024. Okay, all of this is starting to get out of control now. There is no pregnancy. I was speaking hypothetically in that live stream. I am so surprised how even when I say something hypothetical, it gets misunderstood. Thank you for your kindness. I reiterate, there is no pregnancy with anyone. It was another 2 weeks before Chris found himself incapable of commenting on something that he saw on the website he was no longer supposed to be on. In the midst of some Transformer discussion, Chris felt the need to state his piece. This is lots better than the new toy. We do not need a Menasor skeleton to combine the 5 bots that were also Scramble City combiners. Combiner Wars was best set of combiner bots. Do not be stupid with that new skeleton at Hasbro. I really wish you could see who blocked who on Twitter, because I guarantee that Hasbro blocked Chris a very long time ago. February 24th is of course Chris Chan's birthday. He's also deemed it a national holiday, which he used to call Christian Love Day, but has since been recalled Spiritual Love Day. So on February 24th, 2025, Chris used his Twitter account to send out this message. Happy Spiritual Love Dat, everyone. He popped back in on St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you, 4-leaf clover. Also, happy Sonichu and Rosechu anniversary, as I had discovered them on this day back in 2000. And then things start to fall apart. On March 27th, Chris tweets, Favorite GoBots, Hasbro, Transformers, Return of the GoBots. Now this is in reference to something he was posting on Blue Sky, so this is not much to look at the moment. Where this leads is Chris having a follow-up tweet where he decided to address Hasbro directly. Also, Hasbro and Take Ara to My Toys, you got the formula perfect on the Combiner bots in the Scramble City between Transformers Combiner Wars and Transformers Power of the Primes. Go back to that with the future Combiner figures, please. Nobody wants what is up with Superion, and Menasor from Transformers Legacy and Transformers Age of the Primes. I am not a fan of those molds and combination transformation method. We really like the Scramble City combination method. Go back to it and stay with it. You've said some naive things over the years. This is one of the worst. You have no idea what Transformers collectors want. And with that damn broken, Chris is now back to tweeting on Twitter whenever thoughts enter his noggin. Also, considering how sensitive I am to the energies and timelines, and this should be clear with y'all who are authentically woke, if it vibes light, power, and good, then it is beneficial for this timeline and all of you. You do best to vibe with that. June 7th. Hey everyone, this is an official call out. I'm aware that a lot of you like what I did with the endings of the recent review videos for the Transformers Legacy United merged figures. And a lot of you want something more Sonichu and Rosechu related, so I only have the amiibo figures, not posable. What I do need for something similar is fully articulated figures, all joints. Don't use the copy-paste Sonic figure. Look at the photo in the above joint, no elbow joint, not compared to Smallfoot. And I don't just want the most popular Sonichu Prime, Rosie Rosechu Prime, Magichan Sonichu Prime, and Me and Human, Sonichu and Goddess Blueheart, Human and Sonichu form figures. I need all of them. What you see here, Bubbles, Blake, Wild, Simona, Zapina, Punchy, Angelica, and their children, including Donnie, son of Blake and Bubbles, and others that have still yet to be introduced to all of you. and, begrudgingly, figures of Liquid Chew, Liquid Chris Sonichu, and Red Naoknatsu Natesurk, Human and Sonichu. So what he's asking for is people to make articulated action figures based on his Sonichu characters, and he doesn't want them to just be like this. He doesn't want it to just bend at the arm and the knee like this. He wants it to be fully articulated. So he wants his characters not like this. Now, I can only pay so much, but I am saving my money. Saving. But the artist and modders shall be consistently credited in the media the figures are utilized. So mainly, you get at least the exposure. As it has been made clear, I'm a fan of modders. I like custom figures. Look at what others have done of the Transformers figures to recreate the GoBots. Seriously, Hasbro? Give us Leader 1, Turbo Scooter, Psykill, Copter, and the rest. Quit loafing around. They're already inhabiting Cybertron and relocating from Gobotron. Time to go and all that. Effing legal bull. Anyway, I have been impressed. So, with the figures I'll need, please kindly introduce yourselves and let me know what y'all do, and show me the results. I can be contacted directly at the Quicklight Gmail. Thank you all for your consideration and kindness. Make free stuff for me, I can't pay. July 4th, Happy Independence Day. August 9th, everyone, I realize and understand that over the years, I've been a real jerk. I've said and done insensitive things to others over the years. What did it get me? A lot of being trolled and lots of regrets. I solemnly swear, from now on, I will never ever again be a jerk. Lightning Heart Lightning. Is it true that Quickville has supplied arms to the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, which are currently being used in the Gaza Strip? Never ever, and that kind of humor is not acceptable even online. August 24th, 2025. Hey, I wish to state that I was never as into internet lingo, memes, and trends as you may think or project onto me. I hardly know that many YouTube personalities either. I can mainly name PewDiePie and Moist Critical, any of the Brony analysts, or even Danger Dolan and friends, or anyone more recently introduced to me. And the memes that come to mind, 2 number 9s, or yee. Name any popular or popular YouTube, and I very likely have never heard of them. I hardly ever look for the new, fresh, or attention-wanting or heavy videos on any streaming service, including YouTube. I don't even keep up with those trends. Call me 80s old-fashioned like that. I didn't go on YouTube every day in 26, or before, when I got more involved years later. No memes? No memes. He posted something similar, if not identical, on Blue Sky around that same time as well. Chris then complains about the Sonic racing game. How did I get stuck in here for so long a time, Sega? Also, at one point, while waiting for an online race to begin, on the loading screen, Sonic slowly collects one of the 3 rings, then stops. My Switch blacked out. I thought it might have become bricked, but I held the power button for about 10 or so seconds, heard a click sound, the console rebooted, I recovered. But beware, if that loading is stuck on one ring waiting to race online, exit the app. September 14th, 2025. I wish to state and clarify that the Sonichu and Rosechu medallions, and such for my personal blessing, are not cursed. They are infused with the intention to cleanse and bless the wearers. If you are experiencing bad times since, this is due to certain evils inside that are being purged, so you can be cleansed and find blessings. It takes exposing the sins, self-reflection, soul-searching, and repentance, sometimes, to find the blessings that you are meant to soon or eventually find for yourself. This is a great truth regardless. I had sinned by being a jerk and pervert before, but I have repented over and over again and intend on doing good, purely for the sake of goodness, light power, and righteousness. And a lot of the time, that old version of you remains of you like a scar, and one's nature is very difficult to change, but doable. See, some of those who received a Sonichu, Rosechu, or custom medallion from me in my store, they had already done some bad or dark things before them. The ones on YouTube, for example, things like being overly perverted, had intense rage and anger for the sake of anger, lied a lot, etc. The medallions are exposing those evils, purging and cleansing them, so they can soon enough be cleansed, up to being purified. I had heard of 1 or so of them ending up being cancelled in the process. What Chris is referencing here was the curse that went around for about a year, where people were buying the Sonichu medallions that Chris was selling on Etsy as a little bit of a gag. Or people were sending them to their favorite streamers or YouTubers. And then a little while after they put on the medallion on camera, awful things came out about these people and they were cancelled. This led to the idea online of the Sonichu medallion curse, where if you wear one, you're cursed. Chris is saying, and honestly this perspective makes sense, that these were bad people. They put on the medallion, and their wickedness was then revealed to everyone. And thus this is now allowing them to work through their evilness and, like, repent and become better. So, like, he's not wrong. But they do end up finding their respective blessings and a better life. The medallions I've personally been offering are not cursed, nor are they repelling the people, they are cleansing them. So they can learn, maybe repent, and potentially redeem themselves. But at least, a lot of you all have heard of at least a few of those testimonies. And this is the verification that they are blessed wearers, because cleansing away from evils, that has been the intention I had set in them. This next thing is also something that he posted on Blue Sky. Hey everyone, normally I don't get involved in politics, as a lot of you may know, but I am at least aware of a few to some that pop up in headlines. But yeah, real talk. Nintendo America, filing a patent on creature summoning or fighting other creatures or similar. This is in reference to the video game Pal World, which was a very obvious Pokemon ripoff. Nintendo sued them, claiming they had a patent for the ability to fight a monster, capture it, and then allow it to battle on your side. Many people who agreed that Pal World was copyright infringement saw this as huge overreach and that it's not something that you can actually copyright. So Chris is once again on the correct side of this, but he did already post this on Blue Sky, so we're not going to go over it as we went over it in a previous video already. Of the haters, fakers, and darkest, deceiving individuals that make up the minority of billions of people on this very earth, I realized something. There is a really common thing I hate. I can forgive individuals so much for doing so bad, but to try to not come off as a jerk, which I will admit I was before, but I am working on myself and being more kind, considerate, and understanding. But when it comes to the abuse and things I took over the years, I can only take so effing much. With Gwenmi, Mikoto being one representative of the trolls and bullies, yet between the Crackers, the Punislavs, and the SAVs, they're essentially embodiments and a combination into a bigger embodiment of those who are just abusive, not only to me, but other victims that have experienced similar. The abusers and deceivers, F them. The ones flying around spreading their hatred everywhere, the ones collecting those to infuse their hatred into and corrupt them. And of course, the jerk-ops who over-abused their power or authority for evil and selfish gains. Which, that is aside from the police and politicians who actually do good and not abuse their power. Which, that is aside from the police and politicians who actually do good and not abuse their power. In all of my experiences over the years, and over a couple of decades on the internet, I received a mixed, effed up reception. I generally have a better faith in good people and individuals, but my faith gets shaken from time to time. I can only take so much. But I deeply know holding grudges is not healthy. It's common sense and knowledge, so I vibe towards forgiveness. I can forgive, but when I'm reminded after a time of not even thinking about it, it comes back and haunts me one way or another. So I get fueled with anger in the moment. Then I take a few deep breaths to calm myself, and do my best to move forward. That's the context. Lightning Heart Lightning. He linked a video, outtake from the review of Punicracker V Combiner figure. Let's take a listen. The following is the original unended ending of the Punicracker 5 review video.
And this is Jesus Christ Chen Sancho Prime saying, remember, you don't stop playing because you grow old because you stop playing. And don't let any of those haters, fakers, abusers, or toxic individuals tell you otherwise or quell your creativity. So, yes, I feel more affirmed every time I say it because I am a geek as well. So, yes, be geek, be you, be proud.
What?
Be you,
what?
be proud.
We are VR troopers? That's what I heard.
Was that okay, Mr. Director? Yeah, that'll work. Roll the music video. Yes!
Okay, well, I don't know if his toy broke, but that's something. The proposed community notes just like, this guy had sex with his mother, and it links to the quickie. It's not really that insightful. I've just heard about Trump's announcement on medications for autism. Leucovorin. I've read that it's mainly used for reversing toxic damage from methotrexate, enhancing cancer treatment, and treating anemia. This drug was under study for potential autism work. In some autistic individuals, there's a specific subgroup that also have cerebral folate deficiency, CFD. Oh, he's copy-pasting this from somewhere. There's no way he's not. I don't know how to pronounce this. I apologize. Leucovorin could be used to bypass auto-antibodies in the brain, as well as supplying the brain with a usable folate to improve neurological brain functions. But then there are the side effects of leucovorin. nausea. Does he mean nausea? Maybe he didn't copy-paste this. Vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pains, and inflammations in mouth and intestines. Nerve damage can occur. Weakness and fatigue, decreased appetite, taste change, and even hair loss. It gets worse. It can also bring up severe allergic reactions, seizures, infections, and severe diarrhea. My conclusion and personal feeling, Leocorvin is not a viable drug for autism in general. It is meant to target a specific brain disorder that is not typical in autism. You shouldn't do drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? He doesn't say the okay thing. For context before this next thread, a man in Africa predicted that the rapture would happen in September 2025. He went on talk shows and podcasts to promote it, and people were severely hyping up that it was going to happen, but most people looking on the situation were doing it ironically or else giddily awaiting nothing happening. So on September 24th, 2025, Chris Chan tweeted, "I have just been made aware of Joshua, I'm not going to know how to pronounce it, I'm just going to call him Joshua, rapture prediction and people's reactions on TikTok. Actually, when it comes to moments like that, they typically appear as a flash of light for the majority who continue onward in good and light-powered of Earth, as opposed to those who don't get that we experience and remain on the previous version of this universe in the timeline that had divided in that moment. In this, after the fact, it just appears as if nothing had happened to those who continue and leave the habits, thoughts, and events of the past behind in their choice to proceed for the better of themselves." So he's explaining what a rapture really looks like and how it's not the way that Joshua predicted it would happen. The ones who are left behind pretty much just fade out of the view and range of everyone who continues on, often fading in the background, disappearing from view, signified as their death and hours and the perspectives of those who continue onward. It happens in an instant without a thought. We all pretty much stay on Earth, but it is mainly set for the better in the new timeline that is made for us with great like power and good in us. So, in a way, between the timeline split, it happens without our conscious knowledge, unless we are super attuned to the energies of the shift and timeline divide. To at least some, it does give a feeling with the sound of the heavenly trumpets blaring. It is a sign for us who continue to shape up and do right for the better in our choice, making the deeds for us and everyone. Continue forth in good strides with faith and light power, everyone. November 2nd, 2025. Lightning Heart Lightning. I have just realized something. Now, I do not get internet culture or online celebrity references clearly, but I have come to realize that a lot of media these days have such references within them. Also, the way they and others are compiled is like they have been composed by someone with serious attention deficit disorder or mental handicap, which, on the one hand, I support, since it is allowing them to express their creativity as best they can. Yet, on the other hand, it can be just all over the place and jumbled sometimes. The shows I like and have grown up with, even the Saturday morning cartoons, they actually have substance, focus, clarity, and quality in them. But while a show like Smiling Friends can be seen as funny due to its wackiness, you have individuals' characters who talk faster than the individuals in Disastrous Life of Saikike. Saikike is anime. Unless you are excellent at Japanese listening, it's just hard to comprehend or keep up sometimes. I'm going off tangent, sure, but I feel like it emphasizes my point. The better focus and quality is shown in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and Equestria Girls. Marks it as one of the finest examples of a good quality series. It's more grounded and focused with the love, care, and soul put into it. Point is, there are too many examples of random access memory zaniness, when there should be more focus, clarity, and soul. So he's saying that shows like Smiling Friends are bad because they're too LOL random, and real good cartoons are like My Little Pony, where there's like morals and lessons and characters with motivations. If there were more quality media from all of us on both halves of this very earth, then the incomprehensible, even AI could do better, and the rest of us would actually be thinking and doing a lot better. See, I was just reading these tweets, I was about to criticize Chris and be like, Chris, so much of your humor is random nonsense, but he literally says, do you want to give the future generations more of the random, I got a fish, would you like to make a wish, which is a Chris Chan quote, or do you want to give them something better than that? Me personally, I prefer quality, clarity, and insight that makes everyone think and inspired to soul search and find themselves. So they're actually doing something instead of mimicking a low-functioning individual because it's funny for the lols. And if your individual takeaway from this think piece is hee, lols, lol cow, then do I feel sorry and pity for you. Brains and intelligence is not and should not be in short supply even for you. Wake up, stop being blank-minded in survivor observation. Do you realize something? In case anyone doesn't know this scene from Smiling Friends is a quote from Chris, well, his father. November 4th, 2025. An FAQ I often hear time and again. If you're the Avatar, why aren't you preaching more often? Lightning Heart Lightning. Let's look at Jesus' developing life before he got into a church. He was a kid and a teenager, had to find himself in his own soul-searching before he could really wake up to his calling. Obviously, the Gospels don't really go much into those details, with the exception of him encountering a devil and being tempted 3 times by them and resisting. I've actually had a similar vision. Once upon a time in a dream, told them no. That was decades ago. But like some of you, I was in incels, trapped under a metaphysical master ball, master pokeball, that was the old house temple in Ruckersville. How can one really soul search for themselves if they're not free to go out or be encouraged to think for themselves, instead of often being cramped in front of a TV or computer monitor, like an otaku or similar? And in that constant decade-long fog, as well as the fog of people's various comments online, I felt overwhelmed. When one is feeling overwhelmed, it is harder for them to think for themselves or soul search. My sweetheart search, once upon a time, could be very well considered one attempt at my own soul searching, under a disguise of finding someone to be my partner so soon. Yes, that was a wish that took a long time to finally manifest. Regardless, I was long overdue to disconnect from society and meditate and think, finding my connections with everything metaphysical and beyond, including meeting the various gods and goddesses themselves. My dad, Mr. Robert Franklin Chandler Jr., was right in his last words to me. All around the world, everyone prays to their own god, but they are all praying to the same god. This was indeed true. Pick a god, like from Greece, China, or Japan. They do exist individually, but they all work under the one god of many names, Emmanuel, Allah, and so on. Obviously, I've met them. Time and again, this is so funny. What Bob obviously meant was like, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of religion you got, what really matters is that you believe in something bigger than yourself. And what Chris is taking away is, yes, of course, my friend God is the most powerful, and I am Jesus. Obviously, I've met them. Time and again, I have repented for the mistakes I've made over the years, including how much of a jerk I was online. As opposed to Jesus, who was able to find himself more quickly, it took me longer. Not only did I need to disconnect, but I also needed to really see myself as I was in a big mirror only I could reflect and resonate from. The dimension merge is real, and it is completing. You all of little faith can hold your tongues in peace. I see the signs every day. I have and have had many a deja vu memento from a portion of the numerous dreams and visions I've had over the decades. Now that I've spoken the preface that may be esoteric to a lot of you, here is why I haven't preached in your way as much. So he's going to tell us, why is he not being Jesus going around and telling everyone how to live? I have been preaching from time to time in every video and thought I've uploaded or posted. It's not formal like a pastor, but it is so. I'm still consciously waking up and finding the paths, even when I work metaphysically in the outside of my human form body. Isn't that just prime? But yeah, I'm preaching in bits, and they are meant to be told in divine timing. So, take the pieces I've said in the past couple of years in context, meditate and think on that in your cosmos connections respectively. That is all for now in this divinely timed moment. Lightning Heart Lightning. So when people ask Chris, why aren't you going out preaching if you're Jesus? His answer is, I am preaching, on my Twitter. I just watched Donald Trump sign the bill that finally ended the government shutdown. One of the very few things I will at least slow clap for with him. Lightning Heart Lightning. November 17th, 2025. I like and appreciate the positive and constructive commentary from everyone for the videos and content I've made. Although, I'd still like to find, rather it be from the intros of the review videos or the endings of the movies, and then some, what y'all liked. Chris doesn't know the difference between rather and whether to save his life. I know the humor is sometimes esoteric. The old man voiced First Punislav in itself is a hoot. My humor is comparable to a Saturday morning cartoon, and the references are in there as well, but it remains something good and fun that I had a good time putting together. I am still working more with the Transformers Legacy United merged videos, and I'm looking forward to sharing the remaining new content I have in mind with all of you, and everyone in the Transformers and GoBots community. I recommend not making a watch and react video of the review video set yet. Wait for the full movie with the ending videos, and then some. There's still Sunshu going back to the General Electric plant to foil the material theft that happened during the volcano events. This is incoherent to people who have not watched the videos that he's talking about. Chris has been making these Transformers little videos on his YouTube for a while. There's something I have not covered yet, but will in the future. I don't know why I make the comment, this is incomprehensible unless you know everything about Chris. All of his tweets are. We're just brain rotted. He might do a premiere of the full movie in January of 2026. Hey y'all. I felt like I wanted to talk a bit about this, but I am aware of the comparisons between me and Donald Trump. Remember when Chris had a little warning before he talked about Nintendo saying, I don't really talk about politics, but now he's just like, yes, Trump. In particular, the way we phrase what we say and the ego, there is a greater difference between him and I. Even ChatGPT recognizes this in its analysis. With me, I am more emotionally open and blunt with raw honesty, without filler. With me, I am more emotionally open and blunt with raw honesty, without filter or real bad intentions. And Trump, he's a businessman, simple and repetitive, more so than someone like who Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman, portrays. He asked GPT to compare him and Trump. Environment shaping style, early internet forms, autistic communication traits, trolling pressure, Trump, business branding, TV persona, populist politics. That's so interesting. I mean, it's not, but it is. And I speak not only from emotions, but from my own personal experiences, from my own interdimensional travels, and my inner self explorations and realizations. Point is, while Trump and I may speak similarly, he and I are still literal polar opposites. I'd still add, though, that with the fanfics like A Girl Who Brought Down the World, in the warping of my personality and intentions, even as Christine Chan was portrayed in my books, you all, essentially, called how Trump would be as a president, manifested like a bad ritual. So A Girl Who Brought Down the World is a book that someone wrote and sent to Chris, and Chris read it, and the entire point was like, what would it be like if Chris was in charge of the world? And Chris read it as, this is exactly what Donald Trump would do if he was in charge, because he hated Trump when it was coming out. Or it came out a little before the 2016 election. I did cover the book a little bit right before Chris got arrested and then stopped because of the arrest, so I'm definitely going to go back and finish that coverage at some point. But that's what he's referencing. Someone wrote a book about what would Chris do if he was president, and Chris said, this reminds me of Trump. And people are like, Chris, that's a bad thing. Maybe use a little bit of introspection? And then 10 years later, he's like, ChatGPT told me that we're different. And the voting between both of the inconsistent terms makes that even more apparent. Maybe have a hard look at yourselves, as I have also, in my own astronomically unique way, have reflected you all and have the subcultures that ended up spiraling quite a bit at my expense. Yet I'm so unique myself. I have previously expressed how I feel about AI-generated content, and I agree with all of you, as well as SaberSpark, on how bad it is for content creators and artists. I emphasize that I'm not lazy. The work in the video portions of my videos I've made speaks well on that. That said, I am reaching out to all musicians who wish to volunteer services to make the music from the beat, vibe, and music notes Suno had provided. These are only the instrumentals. So Chris wrote a song, had Suno do the music, and now wants other people to make it for him. He also did a poll asking people if he'd rather them hear him sing or an AI version of himself, and everyone voted for him, which, like, I don't know if that really answers the question or not about which one's better. People obviously would just rather hear Chris making a silly of himself. I do feel both humbled and flabbergasted with the results at this moment. I mean, do you all seriously, truly, honestly, authentically like my singing better than the AI in this video? I am off-key, off-time, and frankly, I feel like I sound monotone when listening to myself. This is crazy insightful. He had a Blue Sky post a couple weeks ago saying that he doesn't care that people don't like his singing, he's going to do it anyway, which is based. November 27th, 2025. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Count your blessings. Now, go forth. And that is everything posted on Chris's Twitter account in the last year that's not merely a repost from Blue Sky, an advertisement to his YouTube channel or Etsy store, or him retweeting someone. That was a lot less painful than it will be the next time we look at his Blue Sky account. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to be nice to each other in the comments, consider supporting the creators you admire, not Chris. Never lose sight of the things that are important to you, and remember to zap to the extreme.